welcome back to the ISW interview. My name is John, and here are my friends Adam and Odin to bring to you the camping trip to France.
Last week, years 5, 6, 7, and 8 went on a camping trip to France Morzine.
We had to wake up pretty early to get to the bus at 4:30, and the bus left at 5. And the bus ride was around 9 hours, and we had to stop every 2 hours.
So the reason we had to stop every 2 hours is because the bus driver needs his frequent stops. They were all around only 15 to 30 minutes, where you could use the restroom, buy snacks, or do whatever you need to do, but you only had limited time for it.
There's also a French law that requires bus drivers, I think, to stop every 2 hours, which also contributed to the frequent stops.
As we got to the hotel, we were introduced to all the activities we were gonna do. And as soon as we got there, they introduced everything. They told us we had 15 minutes to get our stuff unpacked and get back downstairs ready to go kayaking.
Yeah, it was not a lot of time. Everyone was stressed.
Everybody was really stressed about it because all of our stuff was packed in our suitcases, so we had to unpack and unpack again. So it was pretty stressful. I'm pretty sure a lot of people didn't get there on time. We had an extra 5 minutes. So yeah.
Year seven and 8 were split off from year 5 and 6, but we would always do separate activities. So just like
All around, they did the same activities as us, but just at different times so that there wouldn't be too many kids at once doing a lot of things. When we got to the kayaking spot, we were again split into 2 groups, year 7 and 8, but since year 7 had way more people than year 8, me and John were put into year 8, and that's how we split.
And we went kayaking. Well, year 7, they went on a walk around the place we were kayaking, just to see the nature and just talk. Yeah, and year 8, they went kayaking and on the water, and they did different activities on the water.
Okay, so once we got on the water with our kayaks, we were meant to first get a feel of going forward, turning everything. There's 2 people kayaks, but we swapped around because there's not enough people. There was an even amount. So John was on his old kayak for a bit. Then we were taught to go backwards, spin our boats around, do learning activities. Then we stopped our boats and we were told to swap boats.
So we all lined up parallel to each other and close, and we held each other's boats. And certain people, so 2 people at a time, would get up and swap spots. So somehow, me and Adam ended up on the same boat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then we were again meant to freely go forward, backward, do whatever. Then we were again called and split into more groups. We were split into 2 groups, and we had to play a game with this floating ball or floating circle or something. I don't know what it was. Where 2 teams had to pass the ball 10 times in a row, and once you dropped it, the count restarted. It was a pretty fun activity. Everybody was yelling at each other, splashing each other with water, trying to catch the ball. It was pretty fun. And then once you're on the kayaks, another activity was the instructor took our paddle and threw it far away from us. So the person in the back or the front was the only one with the paddle, so he had to work to get to the other paddle. And once me and John got it, the instructor took both of our paddles, chucked it straight into the water. And then obviously all the year 8 girls took our paddles, so we had no paddles. We were there waddling around with our hands. So it was pretty stupid, but I mean, it was still really fun.
And there was also another activity where there was this rubber duck in a tube, and you had to run down to the pond or.
This was for the group that was walking.
And then you had to fill a bucket up with water and pour it into the tube, and then you had to get the rubber duck out of the tube, and there were holes in the tube, so people had to cover the holes with their fingers.
Yeah. So the walking part, when we swapped places, the year 7s went on the kayaks. We did this water activity that Odin was just talking about. We walked around, and the instructors told us that we should focus and think about what we want to achieve and what we're really looking forward to on the trip. And then they were also telling us, like, we should tell them if we're not comfortable with doing something, or if we need help doing something, or just in general, things like that. Because everybody was needed to stay safe and comfortable with what they're doing.
So once we finished kayaking, we went and did we pick up your 5 and 6?
No.
So we went. The bus picked us up and we went straight back to the accommodation, and sort of got to familiarize ourselves for a little, since we had no time getting ready for kayaking.
So firstly, everybody unpacked. We got our beds settled and everything. And then after, right next to our hotel, there was a full-size soccer pitch. So a lot of the boys and girls decided to go outside, grab a soccer ball and play. It was really fun because obviously our teachers were watching us. We had a big speaker. We played music. It was just really fun afternoon to like
Yeah.
get to know where we're staying and everything. So that was pretty cool.
And then after that was dinner.
Which was not ideal. All of the food, except for, I'd say, breakfast,
Yeah.
was not of a very high standard.
The first thing we got was like a soup. It was basically just water. And then we got like
The
dry
soup,
bread.
the soup was good. It
It
was
was
like potato
potato
soup,
Yeah, I just wish it was like more stuff to
Thick?
chew on.
like thicker.
Yeah. You just like
Yeah.
drink it.
And then the second meal, the second meal of dinner was turkey with French fries and some salad of some sorts.
So it was a 3-course meal with a starter, a meal, and then a dessert. And so the starter obviously was the potato soup. The main was turkey, some greens, and some French fries.
And the dessert was vanilla pudding, some with like chocolate sauce or something.
Yeah.
Pretty basic dinner. A lot of people complained, a lot of people liked it. Mixed feelings for the first time. On day 2, we woke up. Breakfast was pretty early. It was at around 7:30. Breakfast was every day the same.
Just your basic like hotel breakfast, cereals, breads,
Pastry.
jams, juices, stuff like that.
And
After breakfast, you go back to your room for like an hour, getting ready and stuff. And I will say the hotel had plus sides and bad sides.
The beds were like good. Everybody slept, so that's the goal. It was bunk beds. We had 6 beds in our room, even though there was only 4 of us.
Which was kind of nice. To be
But it
honest.
was kind of nice because everybody kind of got to put their stuff under their bed if they weren't sleeping there. So we weren't as messy as if we didn't have those beds. And we only had one closet, which was kind of like an issue because we didn't have enough space to put all of our stuff in since we all had a suitcase each, or just like a big bag.
Yeah.
We had a balcony in our room, which was connected to 2 other rooms.
Yeah.
It was nice. We got to put our clothes out there to dry when we went kayaking and when we did water. And we had a direct view of the soccer field. So whenever we saw someone out there we wanted to play with, we could just go outside and play with them, or just have a nice view. And there's mountains in front of us and everything, so that was definitely a plus. The food and the showers were the downsides. Food was
Throughout the trip.
throughout the trip, it was
Not
just like what we wanted or what we expected. And the showers were very odd. The like shower head wouldn't stay on the thing because it was broken apart. So it just had to be on the floor.
Or you had to hold it by yourself.
And then the water itself, you couldn't just twist the knob and it'd go. You had to pump the water for it to go, and it would just stop at some point. So you had to keep pumping for it to go. So that was just
it's kind of like when you shower at like a swim place, just worse. You know when you have to push the button and then the water comes out?
Yeah.
It's kind of like that, just way worse. You have to keep pumping.
Yeah, because if you didn't pump enough, the water flow would be just really slow.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, we survived somehow.
Yeah.
So that's the goal.
Yeah.
Okay.
So day 2, we had breakfast, we got into our room, we packed, and first thing was rafting. So once we got there, we had to put on wetsuits in a changing room, and they were all a little bit wet, so it was kind of uncomfortable to put on at first.
Yeah.
But once we were in, it was all good. We then chose our raft groups. It was 6 people to a raft.
Plus an adult and an instructor.
Yeah.
So overall, it was 8 people on each raft.
Yes.
We got to the spot by bus. We sat into the bus. We went like 10 minutes. Actually, maybe even less. We sat into a raft. And the instructors began to explain all of the certain things we had to know.
So it was sort of a command system. The instructor gave us certain commands and we would just follow. So forward, obviously paddle forward, backwards, paddle backwards.
Left forward is mean people sitting on the left side would paddle forwards, and just ways to like adjust our boat, or like if we're going the wrong way, just turn and just know where we're going.
And then also another command was safety. In case we were about to slam into something or such, you would tuck into the boat as fast as you can and lift your paddle up. And we only had to use this once, but it was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
My raft had to use it a couple times because that was kind of crazy. I mean, it was fun, like honestly, but like I was so scared. I fell out the boat at some point. I dropped my paddle twice. Because the impact was more than I expected, and it just chucked me forward. I threw my paddle. I fell out the boat. So, but it was still fun.
Yeah, and in case you don't know what rafting is, it's like you sit in this giant boat. Not giant, it's like
It's an inflated
8-person boat.
raft.
yeah, and you like have a paddle and then you just
Each person has their own paddle, a life jacket, and helmet. We went down the river. It was actually whitewater rafting. Not sure the difference with other stuff, but there's a bunch of like waves and just rocks we could hit and stuff.
and there was like this
We was have several stops along the way to readjust or switch spots, switch places. And in one of the stops, there is a large cliff face, and the pool underneath or the water underneath was deep enough to jump. So several of us took turns cliff jumping. This was a lot of fun.
The cliff was around 6 meters, the instructor said. Really fun. But we climbed up there with there's metal things we could hold on to, which was also pretty sketchy, and it was really good to slip in because everything was wet and stuff. But we got up there and we jumped off. Obviously, the instructors at some point were trying to scare us with stuff. I got up there, the instructor was like, "Don't jump over there, there's a big rock, you might hit it." I was like, "Oh, that's not good." But then there was no rocks. Obviously, it was safe to jump into. It was deep enough. There's no rocks around, so yeah.
the instructors were really nice. One of them just like grabbed one of our classmates and just like shoved
Threw him in the water.
Yeah, just like
Once you're in the boat, you have this position where your right foot is locked in the right side of the boat and your left foot is locked under the seats so that you don't fall out easily. And the instructors were joking about it and were like, "Oh, let's check your position." And they grabbed his vest, picked him up, chucked him into the water. And then they did that to one of our people on the boat too. But it was a lot of fun. Honestly, even jumping in and falling in was really fun. I got to experience that firsthand because there's a huge rock and there was a boat in front of us and they ran into it and then we ran into the boat and our boat, the tip of our boat, it folded and I was in the front, so it just folded me in there and I just blopped out. But they caught me and I just crawled back in, so it was fine.
Yeah.
But I also lost my paddle twice, but it's okay. We got it back, so that's the goal.
Yeah.
Then we made it back. We stopped. We carried our boats back up to the place, and we took our wetsuits off, changed, and we were ready for our next activity.
So the next thing was that we went to was high ropes. It wasn't that big, but it was fun. There was a lot of zip lines, and there was like one giant one. We went over like a tiny river, and yeah, there were different like levels. It was pretty fun. The instructors were nice, and yeah,
We were there for a long time because rafting took longer than usual because everybody took a while to change and get the wetsuits off because they're so wet they like stick onto your body. And people obviously forgot towels and people forgot a lot of things, so we just took a while. Once we got there, I'm pretty sure we had like an hour and a half to do everything. Then we got done, took our harnesses off, walked all the way back to our hotel, and then we got to be in our rooms and just hang out for a while. And then we had s'mores and team building activities.
yeah,
So basically, afternoon activities or team building activities was kind of a free for all. You just mostly did what you want. We played a bit of soccer, a bit of dodgeball. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. There's just some ball games, some s'mores at the end of the day.
So that was really nice. And then day 3 was for some people the most challenging day of all. This was only for like year 7s and 8s because it was too challenging for the year 5s and 6s. We went on a hike to like a mountain where you could cross from France to Switzerland. Like it was the border line was right there.
We essentially hiked to the Swiss and French border.
yeah.
Yeah. So we could like jump between borders. It was a really cool experience. The hike was really long. I'm not sure how long it took us to get up. Pretty sure around like 5 hours at least.
Yeah.
Maybe up and down.
Yeah, up and down was around 5 hours. We went up, we stayed up there for a little bit. We had lunch before the border. We ate lunch, we got back up, we climbed up, and then we went down the hill. We got to this like lake place and they had ice cream.
I believe the lake was called Loch Mindior. I'm not sure about that.
Yeah.
And then we got there was an ice cream place, everybody got ice cream. There was a tiny playground. We stayed there for like an hour or something.
Just lounged after the long hike.
After the long hike. And then our bus was waiting for us there. We just got on the bus and went back.
But another thing that we could mention about food was the lunch. It was always the same thing. There's no like switch in the lunch. So you always had to bring the
The
same
lunch wasn't cooked lunch. It was like pre-made for us. It was sandwiches with cheese and tomatoes.
Yeah.
Or with ham and cheese. Or
Yeah.
And then chips. Some like
Twinkies kind of.
like Twinkie looking stuff.
Yeah, like
And then
dough.
that was pretty much it. So that was our lunch every single day.
Wasn't that?
So yeah, but it was like I don't know. Once you're doing so many activities, I don't think you like need to eat as much. Like especially on day 2 when we had rafting and then immediately Arabs, like it's just so much at once. I didn't feel like eating because I just didn't want to not feel good after doing so much. So day 3 I feel like was the most calm day of all because we had the hike and as soon as we came back we just stayed in the hotel. Didn't really do anything. Played soccer. So yeah.
So day 4.
So on day 4, we had to wake up early. We had to make sure we were packed before breakfast, because this was the day we had to leave, go back home. Anyways, breakfast was as usual, just cereals, breads, some spreads for the bread, juices, such stuff like that. After breakfast, we brought all our stuff down and we loaded it onto the bus. Everyone had to be ready because obviously we were leaving from the rock climbing. So once we arrived, we were again split into 2 groups, except this time it was just year 7 and then year 8. Year 7 would start off with the walk around the town, just see the sights, just check out how beautiful this little village was. And then year 8 would be climbing while year 7's walking. Once the climbers were done, once year 8 was done, we would rotate. And so the way the rock wall is set up is there's several hooks, and I'm assuming they set up ropes every day. So they take them down at the end of the day, and then they reset at the start.
It was all different difficulty levels because at some point there's like tiny kids climbing over there, so they had easy ropes set up for them. And then once they left, they took those ropes down and put up new ropes for us to climb, like higher ropes or just difficult like climbs. And then after that, we got done with climbing. We took our harnesses off and we went back to the bus. Kara, the year 5 teacher, was nice enough to buy everyone 3 slices of pizza, which was 23 pizzas. She did this for her, like, by her own. This wasn't like a planned thing. It wasn't supposed to be.
And it kind of saved everyone.
Yes. We were all
We
hungry
didn't have
after
lunch.
our activities and had lunch, and no one wanted to eat the same thing every day. So everybody got their pizza. We finished eating, threw everything away, got on the bus, and same bus ride back.
Yeah.
On the way, we stopped at around like 4 to get
Burger King.
It was Burger King. Everybody got so filled up. The bus didn't smell good because Burger King. It was just. I personally did not like the bus ride back as much as the bus ride there.
I agree.
But that's just opinion.
Yeah.
Overall, we gave everything a rating from the accommodation to the bus ride. We gave the accommodation a 2.5, the activities a 4.5, the food a 1, the afternoon activities was a 5, which was our favorite thing.
Due to just chilling, playing soccer, or just freedom.
Just the freeness that we had was probably the best part. And then the bus ride a 3.5.
Yeah.
So that was the France trip to Morzine. Thank
Hope you've enjoyed this section of the ISW interview.